Hong Kong, all set to usher in the Year of the Horse. Chief Executive John Lee visits the Kuntong Flower Market. And the city experiences its warmest ever Lunar New Year's Eve. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. All 14 Lunar New Year fairs across the city will open overnight until the early hours of New Year's Day. Many residents headed out early to pick their festive blooms, while some vendors have already started slashing prices to boost sales. Our reporter Samantha Lee has been on standby at Victoria Park since early this afternoon. So Samantha, how's it like at the park after nightfall?
Hello. The atmosphere is getting more vibrant here at Victoria Park. The crowd started to build in the afternoon. So as you can see behind me, the park is filled with revelers and shoppers, with many of them being families. And there seem to be people from all corners of the world, all enjoying the vibes and the weather, which is clearly less hot and stuffy when compared to this afternoon. And for those planning to visit later tonight, please expect heavy traffic around Causeway Bay, and maybe it is better to stick to public transport if you can. Let us now show you how Victoria Park and other places prepare for the new year earlier today. At the Victoria Park, the city's largest festive market, early shoppers were out to pick their favorite blossoms. This man said he spent around $300 on peach blossoms and daffodils.
It's a great festival. There's all kinds of cool stuff to see, lots of people to watch, and it's great.
Flowers everywhere. The city is just dressed up. It's absolutely beautiful.
There's so many people here. There's so much energy here. I'm just so glad to be a part of it.
As the market approaches its final day, some stores have already cut their prices. Items originally priced at $150 have been dropped to $100 for $3. Some vendors said the warm weather caused peach blossoms to bloom early, which has affected their bargaining power. Still, some vendors remain optimistic about a profitable year. This owner hopes to sell all 15,000 blooms, as he only got about 1/3 left to go. For dry goods stores, these first-time student vendors are young people from different ethnicities living in Hong Kong, including Filipinos, Indians, and Nepalese. Their profits will be donated to charities.
There are some places where you have to sell it professionally, and then there are places like this where you need to communicate more. You might need to shout out, you might need to show them the products individually. So it's like there are different types of way to sell, and this is a really good opportunity for us to know how to sell it.
The 14 fairs citywide will extend their operating hours today, remaining open until 7 a.m. on Lunar New Year's Day. On Lunar New Year's Eve, another tradition would be family gatherings. Many residents also flocked to wet markets early in the morning to buy ingredients for the reunion dinners. Shoppers thronged Kowloon City Market to pick seafood. Vegetable stores were also busy, and many customers say they would not cut spending for the once-a-year occasion. This patron said while prices for seafood had risen by about 1/3, she is willing to pay more for a festive meal. Chicken stores saw long queues, with some customers placing orders 3 to 4 days in advance. One vendor said business was expected to drop by about 10% due to outbound travel, with some residents heading to Shenzhen during the holidays. Meanwhile, at this restaurant in Causeway Bay, reunion dinner banquet packages ranged from nearly $5,000 to $10,000. The manager says bookings were fully reserved 3 weeks ago, and business was up about 10% year-on-year. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Many residents traveled to the mainland for the Lunar New Year holiday. As of 4 p.m., about 164,000 people left Hong Kong via land control points. Sheung Shui Station was buzzing with travelers wheeling suitcases as they headed north in the afternoon. Authorities said that all border control points will maintain the existing operating hours over the holiday. Chief Executive John Lee visited the Lunar New Year fair in Kuntong this afternoon and sent New Year blessings to citizens. The city leader arrived at the Kuntong Recreation Ground at around 3 p.m. and toured the fair, accompanied by Secretary for Environment and Ecology Zhe Qinwen and Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs Alice Mack. John Lee stopped by some wet goods stalls to tap business sentiment. He also praised the vendors for being creative in their business ideas. The city leader spent around $1,000 on festive blooms, including orchids. He also visited a booth run in part by students and took photos with them. During the visit, he interacted with some citizens and extended festive greetings. Chief Executive John Lee and his wife Janet Lam also extended Lunar New Year wishes to the public in a video released by the government. The video features several ceramic painting works displayed at Government House created by Janet Lam. The couple also headed to interact with horses. Lee says horses symbolize speed and endurance, which also represent Hong Kong people's spirit of striving forward with perseverance. The observatory recorded a maximum temperature of 27.9 degrees Celsius on Monday afternoon. The temperature was the highest on record for Lunar New Year's Eve. The Mo Seng-ai reports.
Lunar New Year is upon us, and Tuesday will be the first day of the Year of the Horse. At Victoria Park's flower market this morning, many residents dressed in short sleeves or thin layers of clothing to do some last-minute festive shopping. The observatory said the maximum temperature of the day was 27.9 degrees Celsius, breaking the highest on record for Lunar New Year's Eve since 1953, which was 27.8. But weather authorities said a cold front over the northern part of Guangdong is expected to move across the coastal areas on Tuesday, leading to a cloudier day and a slight drop of temperature. Looking ahead, the weather will be cool in the morning on the second and third days of the Lunar New Year. The monsoon will moderate in the latter part of the week, with temperatures ranging from 17 to 24 degrees. Mo Seng-ai, TVB News.
U.S. military forces boarded another sanctioned tanker in the Indian Ocean. This after tracking the vessel from the Caribbean Sea in an effort to target what Washington called illicit oil connected to Venezuela. Daniel Rao has details.
According to the Pentagon, the tanker, which left Venezuela on January 3rd, the same day as the country's then-President Nicolas Maduro's capture, with nearly 2 million barrels of crude and fuel oil, was tracked from the Caribbean Sea. The Pentagon said the vessel tried to defy U.S. President Donald Trump's quarantine, hoping to slip away. The Pentagon said after tracking it, U.S. military forces closed the distance between themselves and the vessel and shut it down. The Pentagon did not say whether the Veronica 3 was formally seized and placed under U.S. control, and later told the AP in an email it had no additional information to provide beyond that post. The Veronica 3 is a Panamanian-flagged vessel under U.S. sanctions related to Iran, according to the website of the U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control. The Panama Maritime Authority said the ship was no longer registered there and had been cancelled in December 2024. The Trump administration has been seizing tankers as part of its broader efforts to take control of Venezuela's oil. Last week, the U.S. military boarded a different tanker in the Indian Ocean, the Aquila 2. The ship was being held while its ultimate fate was decided by the U.S., according to a defense official who spoke last week on condition of anonymity to discuss ongoing decision-making. Daniel Rao, TVB News.
Iran's top diplomat is expected to join his country's negotiating team for talks with the U.S. over its nuclear program. Abbas Araghchi and his delegation will meet with U.S. envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner as they try to close a deal that would prevent a potential U.S. attack against Iran. Nasir Karim with more.
Abbas Araghchi has been Iran's main diplomatic face as Tehran tries to avoid a potential war with the U.S. and Israel. The Iranian foreign minister is leading a diplomatic and specialized delegation to Geneva for talks with U.S. envoys and other officials on Iran's nuclear program. He is also expected to meet the foreign minister of Switzerland and Oman, which is brokering the talks, and Rafael Grossi, chief of the United Nations Nuclear Agency, the IAEA. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, speaking in Slovakia, said diplomacy remains a priority to solve the crisis, even as Washington sends more military vessels to the region.
We are postured in the region for one simple reason, and that is that we understand that there could be threats to our forces in the region. We've seen them be threatened in the past, and we want to make sure that we have sufficient capacity to defend them if, God forbid, that were to happen. But right now we're talking about negotiations. We are focused on negotiations. That's what we're focused on. The President's made that clear. If that changes, it'll be obvious to everyone, and obviously whatever the law requires us to do, we'll do.
Iran has said it is ready for war and that any attack by the US would trigger a wider conflict in which Israel and US bases in the region would be under threat. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu knows about Iran's ballistic missile capabilities from last year's 12-day war. He said he was skeptical about US-Iran talks and wants to not only remove any nuclear threat from Iran, but also their ballistic missile stocks.
I will not hide from you that I express my skepticism of any deal with Iran because, frankly, Iran is reliable on one thing. They lie and they cheat.
Tehran insists that the talks focus only on its nuclear program, even as protests against the Shia Islamic regime, such as these scenes in Toronto, Canada, continue around the world. While Iran is willing to dilute its uranium stocks, it has refused to completely halt enrichment and is flat out unwilling to discuss halting its ballistic missile program. Nazri Karim, TVB News.
Welcome back. 11 Palestinians were killed Sunday by Israel fire in the Gaza Strip, according to the local hospital authorities. A strike hit a group of people in an area close to the so-called Yellow Line, which separates Israeli-controlled areas from the rest of Gaza. Associated Press footage from the morgue showed at least 2 of the men killed had headbands denoting membership in the Qassam Brigades, the militant arm of Hamas. In northern Gaza, a drone strike also hit a group of people, killing at least 5 in the Jabalia refugee camp. The Israel military said it struck northern Gaza in response to ceasefire violations near the Yellow Line. The Ukrainian former energy minister has been detained as a suspect in a high-profile kickback case for crimes such as money laundering and participation in criminal activity. Meanwhile, Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico said his country would continue to support the Ukrainian energy grid by supplying electricity and gas. Danny Rao tells us more.
The BBC named the detained former energy minister as German Galushenko. Galushenko was forced out of another role as justice minister last year. This after being among the Ukrainian officials named in a corruption scandal. Ukraine's special anti-graft prosecutor said the former official is charged with money laundering and participation in a criminal organization. The prosecutors added the former minister was detained over the weekend while attempting to leave Ukraine. Ukraine's National Anti-Corruption Bureau said during the suspect's tenure, the criminal organization received more than $112 million in cash from illegal activities in the energy sector. The Bureau said materials obtained in Ukraine and through international cooperation with the authorities of a number of countries furnished the basis for its conclusion. Meanwhile, Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico said bringing about peace in Ukraine would involve engaging in dialogue with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Speaking alongside US Secretary of State Marco Rubio in the Slovak capital Bratislava, Fico said if we do not engage in dialogue, we cannot claim we are interested in ending the armed conflict we're currently seeing in Ukraine. Fico also confirmed Slovakia would continue to support the Ukrainian energy grid by supplying electricity and gas, despite saying Ukraine was robbing his country of €500 million a year. He added a post-war arrangement must include a serious discussion about the ownership of the gas pipeline that runs through Ukraine, so that it does not continue to be a tool for blackmailing individual countries. General TV News.
The 3 Shenzhou 20 astronauts whose return to Earth was delayed have spoken about their ordeal. They were supposed to head home on November 5th last year, but were forced to postpone the return after discovering a crack in the capsule's porthole. Nasi Harim with more.
Commander Chen Dong and crewmates Chen Zhongrui and Wang Jie safely returned to the Dongfeng landing site aboard the Shenzhou 21 manned spacecraft on November 14th last year. They spent 204 days in space, breaking the record for the longest on-orbit stay by a Chinese astronaut crew. According to the original plan, they were supposed to return on November 5th last year on Shenzhou 20, but a minor crack appeared in one of the porthole windows, leading to a postponement for safety reasons. They recently spoke to CCTV, recounting their experience. It was Chen Dong who first discovered the crack while conducting a final inspection, likely made by space debris hitting the capsule. I was the one who went to check it out. We do this with the naked eye, he said. In the process of inspecting the craft, I noticed it on the porthole, something with a triangle. Was it outside the glass? Was a small leaf stuck to it? I asked myself. But then I realized this is space. How can leaves fall here? I immediately realized something was wrong. He then alerted Chen Zhongrui and Wang Jie, asking them to come over and check if there was a problem with the porthole. Chen Zhongrui said his first reaction was also that it looked like leaves stuck to the outside. Because glass has a certain thickness, it refracts and reflects light, and you see something that is yellowish, he said. But if you look at it from another angle, it's different. Wang Jie said he was unsure whether the porthole had cracks, but he did not feel nervous at all. I was not nervous, he said, because the outermost layer is a protective layer. It has 2 pressure layers inside. As long as the pressure does not change, we are safe. The 3 astronauts searched for equipment inside the Tiangong space station. They found a magnifying glass and used a tablet and mobile phone to take pictures of the porthole. Chen Dong said that using a pen-shaped device that could magnify objects 40 times allowed them to clearly see tiny cracks. He said that he could not fully determine if the cracks were caused by an impact or deformation, so he transmitted the data to ground control for their opinion. Chen Dong said 2 crews were aboard the space station at the time, and they were all united in their efforts. Despite their ordeal, the trio said they felt reluctant to leave and hoped to one day return to space. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
The Consumer Council received 120 complaints related to parking services last year, the highest in 3 years. Also risen in complaints are hair transplant services. Parking problems are not just about finding a parking space on the busy streets these days. The woes now extend to confusion in fees and pricing. The Consumer Council received 120 related complaints last year, which hit a 3-year high. More than half involved fee disputes. One complainant mistold saw an ad at a residential estate car park promoting 24-hour parking for $145. She parked for 22 hours but was charged $1,210 upon exit. Staff explained the discount only applied to designated inner parking areas, while her parking space was charged at $55 per hour. Ms. Toast says the ad did not clearly specify the designated area and only stated that terms and conditions applied. She asked that the inner area required entry through another gate. The car park operator initially refused her request for a refund, following mediation by the consumer watchdog, which noted that drivers would find it difficult to stop and read lengthy small print terms at the gate. The operator refunded $1,065. The Consumer Council urged operators to make terms clearer and easier to understand before drivers enter car parks. Separately, the Consumer Council received 67 complaints over the past 3 years related to hair transplant and restoration services. In one case, a complainant purchased a $170,000 treatment package involving the implantation of 2,000 artificial hair strands, claiming results would last 6 to 8 years. After receiving 1,200 implanted strands in stages, nearly all fell out within a year. The complainant also experienced redness, inflammation, and sores on the scalp. The watchdog cited Department of Health advised that consumers should consult their doctors before undergoing medical procedures to understand potential risks and should not rely solely on ads or sales pitches from non-professionals. A rehearsal for the Chinese New Year night parade was held in Chimsha-Choi on Monday. The actual parade will kick off at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, the first day of the Year of the Horse. Mo Sung-ai reports.
Meet the Manny Seabirds, the Australian cheerleading team. Being one of the first-timers at the event, the team said their performance incorporated the Lunar New Year festival and Australian characteristics.
Chinese New Year is about new beginnings and just being with everyone. It's all about being joyful, and we hope that our performance can be reflected through this spirit.
These younger dancers dressed as heroes from the Chinese classic novel, Water Margin. Originated in the Chaoshan region of Guangdong, the dance displays features of drama and martial arts. A symbol of good fortune and peace is brought to the audience as dancers wield their batons and move to the rhythm of gongs and drums. Take a look at these creatures, an Italian dinosaur and 2 Chinese dragons. For the first time, Chromosauro and the local Chinese martial arts dragon and lion dance collaborated to showcase an East meets West performance.
The performance with the Chinese dragon is incredible. It's like a combination between the force of the ground with the Chromosauro and the flow of the water with the Chinese dragon.
Consisting of 60 floats and performing groups, this year's parade gathered teams from places such as Italy, Australia, and the US. The celebration will start at the Hong Kong Cultural Centre.
For those who have not secured a ticket to the parade, they can enjoy the event for free at strategic spots along the parade route, including Nathan Road and Canton Road. Memos 9, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.